the church I used to go to did have a youth group that I did partake in a couple times, but I didn't really get very into.
I took Hebrew school for a while, and then I was bat mitzvahed, and they always had like classes every Saturday morning before Shabbat, and I would always get involved with that.
I tried it out. I didn't really stick with it, but I know they do have one, and it's really good. They travel to, I think, India to help people down there.
My church does have a youth group, and we learn about God, but we also play games, so it's like both, and it's really fun.
We do it every Saturday actually, and we do games and stuff. It's pretty fun.
We usually go to like the family YMCA or something like that, have all the teens get together, go through like a little Bible study thing. And
we do. They have certain ones for adults and teenagers, and I'm in the teenagers obviously, and it has helped me a lot just to be stronger in Christ and everything.
I go to youth group, and we go on mission trips, and we go on camping trips, and we play games like kickball and any other kid games, but we're also learning at the same time.
My church does not have a youth group.
I don't think they do.
I haven't been to church in a while, but I know that they do have a youth ministry.
Before I joined the military, I attended a youth group. We do a lot of fundraisers for other people, and that's what I did.
In 1997, in a document titled Renewing the Vision, a Framework for Catholic Youth Ministry, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops stated that
if parishes are to be worthy of loyalty and active participation of the youth,
they will need to become youth-friendly, communities in which youth have a conspicuous presence in parish life.
Parish communities that value young people, welcome them, and listen to them.
Parish communities that see young people as resources, recognizing and empowering their gifts and talents.
Giving them meaningful roles in leadership and ministry.
And encouraging their contributions.
In short, youth-friendly parish communities make a commitment to young people and their growth.
This is coming straight from the bishops. Isn't that cool how they show their support for us?
I think so. I think it's really cool how they don't ignore us and they recognize that we're actually a part of the church.
So what about you? Is your church teen-friendly? Does it support the youth ministry?
And if your parish does offer any type of youth ministry, are you involved?
Youth ministry. What's in it for me? That's what we'll be talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Justin.
And I'm Carolee. And this is Real Faith TV. Quite a number of teens on the street were at some point in their life involved in a youth group in their parish.
We'll hear from them again a little later in the show, as well as meet our spotlight guest, Samantha.
But first, let's meet our studio guests and find out about their involvement in youth ministry.
Okay, they are Lauren, Rachel, Justin, Leanne, Caitlin, and Alina. Before we begin, let's first define what youth ministry is. I think a lot of people think that youth ministry and youth groups are one and the same.
Youth ministry is the ministry of young people in the church.
It's how we are incorporated into the life of our parish or church community.
This can mean many things, like being an altar server, volunteering to help teach religious education, or vacation Bible school.
It may also mean joining singing in the choir or folk group, or participating in the parish youth group.
So the parish youth group is only one component of the youth ministry.
So in what ways are you involved in youth ministry in your church?
I've been singing in my church for as long as I can remember, and I've just loved it because, I get to spend time with kids my age who love music and love singing. And with my youth group, just so many people. I've made so many friends there, and it's just a great place to be. It's a great place to hang out. It's a great place to learn about God.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time at my church. Youth group is a big part of what I do in youth ministry. I've been altar serving since I was, I think, in 4th grade. I'm starting to lecture, and I love doing it, so it's definitely cool.
Yeah, I've been altar serving for a while, I believe since 4th grade also. And I love doing it because I feel like I'm playing my part in the Mass, and it really helps me concentrate on what the priest is saying.
I was a part of my youth group in about 7th and 8th grade, and then every summer since I started high school, I've helped out with Vacation Bible School. And I think it's a great experience because I get to teach younger kids about their faith. I really like it a lot.
For me this summer, I was actually cantering at my church, and at first it started off just with being with the youth group, but then the music director actually had me being a cantor regularly. And then also I've been in youth group since I believe 7th grade.
Yeah, I'm actually a part of my music ministry, and I play drums, and we play a lot of contemporary rock. Christian music, so it's really cool and it's a lot of fun. I've been doing it since 6th grade.
Let's go back to the teens on the street and find out what church activities they are involved in at their church.
There's a lot of volunteering at the church, and food drives, we serve homeless people there.
I used to participate when I was
like an ongoing student at that church. I mean, every Sunday there would be events after church, basketball games, intramural soccer, and everyone in the parish would participate.
There's the Sunday school where I teach little kids because I like little kids and teaching them about it. And there's on Christmas, feeding the homeless and going on mission trips.
We have a thing called Mitzvah Day, which is where you do something like really good for your community. I get involved that way.
I don't really participate, so I don't know the activities.
There's actually a lot of activities like game night, we have a festival, carnival, and I do take part of it.
There isn't that much activities.
We have a lot of church activities. I haven't participated in them, but they have little plays and skits to everything about God.
There was like this youth group. I was like a staff there. They taught, I don't know, like they played games and a whole bunch of things.
I don't know what church activities are at my church.
I don't usually participate just because I'm doing something else. I don't really go to church too often.
I'm actually in another dance ministry in my church too. Anything to just help you get connected with God through those will actually help you a lot.
One of the hopes of youth ministry is to challenge young people like us and our families to a deeper involvement and understanding in our church community.
Real Youth Ministry is all about prepositions.
Youth ministry that is by, of, with, and for youth.
Next, let's meet our spotlight guest, Samantha.
She is currently a college student studying youth ministry.
In this segment, Samantha shares about her involvement with high school youth ministry.
Well, I was a lector. I helped teach CCD all 4 years of high school. I did vacation Bible school. I helped lead stuff like that. I was actually part of the Parish Ministries Council as a representative for the youth group. I actually went on a lot of retreats, a lot on my own, and we did a lot as a youth group. We went on Mountward Bound retreats. Those retreats, we went Friday and we stayed till Sunday. We just got to hang out and learn and worship and praise and listen to different talks from speakers around the world, hear famous musicians. It was an overall really great experience. My first Mountward Bound retreat, I got to go to confession for the first time when I wasn't forced to do so. And I went just because I wanted to go. I got a really nice priest who sat there and talked with me after. And when I left, I had this overwhelming peace and calm feeling. And then I knew God was real and that all this work that I had been doing this past year to learn about God and do all the things was really worth it. And that was like the foundation for me, the beginning of my journey.
Like what Samantha said about confession, when my youth group did a lock-in, our priest was there and he gave us time to go to confession, and our lock-ins are just like a cool thing that our youth ministry does that's amazing. And we have fun, we stay up late, we talk about God.
My youth group had a lock-in also. We could either go to sleep or we could stay up all night, and like most people stayed up all night. At like 6:30 we walked over to the church and we all got rosaries and all, and we just started praying the rosary together. That was like one of the first times I actually enjoyed doing the rosary.
When I was at my confirmation retreat, we all went into the church and there was a letter in each pew. I find my letter. It was a note from my mom saying how proud she was of me and all the great things that I'm doing, and I started to cry, and I just thought that was definitely a God moment. I just felt so close and so connected at that moment.
Well, my confirmation retreat, you could just tell that nobody wanted to be there. Everyone was tired. They thought it was boring. Once the leaders started sharing their own personal stories, you could just feel the atmosphere change, and actually some people started crying because they felt so touched that the leaders would share something so personal with them. It was really great to see that.
I was at a youth retreat with my youth group. We were praying the rosary and we actually walked along the beach and prayed it. I started crying because I was going through a really rough time. My friends came over and they just hugged me. They were there for me. They didn't say a word, but they were just there. And it felt so good to know that people are there for me and they care about me. And it really made me realize that I'm part of a church and that I have people there for me.
I have a similar situation. I went to adoration in my church. I was also going through a rough time upon losing a friend and some other things going on. All the youth ministers in my church just prayed over me. It was overwhelming, but in a good way. I just felt really felt connected with God. And I started to cry. It was just so spiritual, and to this day, it's just one of the coolest experiences having people pray over you all at the same time. It was just the coolest feeling ever.
It's
being
something
prayed
you'll
over.
never forget, something like that.
I feel like youth group is kind of like a support system. You have a bunch of people there. I mean, I was only part of it for 2 years or so, but the people that I met there and the friendships that I made, I know that I'm always going to have them, and that if I ever need anything, that I can always go back to those people.
It's a family there, and you can always trust your family, and they're always there for you.
It's like your net. You know they're there. What are some things our church communities can do to become more teen-friendly?
That's what we asked the teens on the street.
Let's check it out.
People are going to do what they want to do. There's no way to persuade most people, especially of younger age.
Don't look down upon them, I guess. A lot of people in my temple think, oh, like teenagers, like we don't really care about you. If you give them that attitude, then they're not going to respect you.
Stuff that would occupy teenagers more, like would capture teenagers' attention. Taking a trip to an amusement park.
Really fun activities that teens would say because, like I said, this generation, not many kids are really interested. Last year, I participated in my parish. They had basketball games every Friday night, and I would do that. And as a 16-year-old, I really enjoyed that.
When they preach to put it on our level and use stuff that relates to us, like with relationships and school and sports.
I've always just wanted to know about God and how he helps me and saves me.
Youth group, so everyone can have someone to talk to.
Know what they're going through and help them out on their things. Don't make life seem like it's so great, and you get to see how hard it is for them and go through their scenarios.
Friendliness, good people, loving people.
I don't think our church really needs anything more than it already has, because it already has a lot of volunteer workers and youth groups and stuff.
I went to this one church where they had youth, and then they had teens, and then they had adults. And in the teenage one, they had another preacher who was he was younger, so he was able to relate to them and really get across to them like the main problems that teenagers face and how they can deal with it by believing in God. And they also had like little teenager getaway things that they can go on like trips for a few days and really get to know the Lord.
Have more activities to keep kids off the streets. You know, there's a lot of negative things in life that attract kids these days, and that they should have more gyms, you know, basketball camps or something like that, like more activities for kids.
One of the teens mentioned helping with the Vacation Bible School. Did you know that the Vacation Bible School is the #1 experience to engage and empower high school and middle school youth? It creates a space where young children see teenagers as models of faith.
Yeah, I remember going to my first Vacation Bible School trip. Well, actually working it. And prior, I was one of the little kids going all excited, and I remembered looking up to the leaders like they were such role models for me. So now being on the other side of it, actually leading the little kids, it felt really good to be able to know that I was like a role model for them.
When I cantor at my church, I feel really empowered because, you know, all these people are looking up at me, like, and I'm preaching God's word through song, and it's just a great feeling.
At my church, I asked my priest if he was interested in doing one of our spotlight interviews. I realized that not a lot of people have that kind of relationship with their priest. I mean, I'll go to him with questions that I have or anything I'm not sure of, I'll ask him, like maybe before I altar serve or something like that. But he's just the type of guy that's really like, that I can approach. If you find that one person that can answer your questions and you can go to for advice, I think that then you definitely have a good role model and a good leader to look up to.
Yeah, I agree. My older brother was always my role model. He knows so much about the Catholic faith. I just love having someone I can go to help me and just talk to about God.
It felt great being a leader at Vacation Bible School because you have the little kids looking up to you and asking you about like questions about their faith and like, what is God? Who is he? Like, what's going on? And it's really neat to like have that whole experience and have like connections with everyone and have someone and be like a role model that they're gonna like come back to and talk to and look up to.
I actually had one kid come up to me after Mass, came up to me and said, "You did so good on the drums. When I'm old enough, I want to play drums for our Mass," and that just like touched me because it was so cute how he came up to me.
I had a similar experience. My sister and I were altar saving at a baptism. And one of the littler kids, he came up to my sister and I, and she was like, "When I grow up, I want to be an altar-serving angel just like you guys." And you know, like, that was like the coolest feeling in the world, that she was looking up to us.
If your parish has a youth group, this is a great way for us to explore the questions we have about our faith.
A parish youth group is a place to be, share, and to grow.
A place to become a better version of yourself while figuring out who you are in the first place.
It's a smaller, friendlier place within the larger community that understands your needs and honors your gifts.
Next, Samantha tells us that it wasn't exactly her idea to join her parish youth group.
But in the end, she was really glad she did.
My mom actually signed me up to go to youth group without me knowing and made me go. But it was definitely worthwhile, and I got to meet so many new friends and got to just like laugh and hang out and just be myself. I was able to meet so many like-minded friends and have the support system, and also to learn and get the right foundation. Some of the misconceptions are probably that everyone's like a holy roller and all they do is pray and they don't do anything fun. It's really not that way. Youth groups can definitely expose people to new things. I've been raised in the Catholic Church my whole life, and I do go to Mass every Sunday, but I didn't know until I started youth group like what adoration was. It was really Jesus there, and I didn't know about certain prayer services, and I was really able to experience them all. You do pray, but you don't necessarily do that all the time. There are fun talks, there are fun games. So one of the cool things about youth group was that there was a lot of people coming together from all different social groups or cliques in schools, and we could all just be one big giant group. And there was a kid that he didn't really know much about the faith, and he was very like argumentative. And he'd be like, why doesn't the church support abortion or something like that? And he'd argue with you, but then he'd listen to the explanations from our priest or from our youth minister, and after a while he would just be like, oh, I get it, I understand. And so I thought it was really cool that even though he wasn't brought up in the church, he could still understand and believe after it had been explained to him. I thought that was really cool.
Youth groups have a variety of ways to build community relationships and faith.
A lot of times these are real-life moments, like playing games or watching a good movie.
Sometimes there are opportunities to hear what your peers are thinking and develop your own thoughts.
Like watching videos or discussion or sharing in small faith groups.
Sometimes there are life-changing events like attending a retreat weekend, where there is time for friendship,
time for God, and time for fun.
That sounds great, like a whole mind, body, spiritual experience.
It really is. Next, the teens on the street tell us whether or not they have attended any retreats.
And whether or not they would recommend a young person to join a youth group.
I attended a Catholic school, and we went on retreat once a year. And after the retreat, I felt really good about myself because I was with God the whole day, and like my whole soul was refreshed.
I went on a Johnsburg retreat, and it was fun and emotional because you just let yourself out to let everybody know.
You think it changed you as a person?
Yeah.
This is my third year going into this retreat called Street Life. It's here in New York City. You feed the homeless, you pray.
We had like a vacation Bible study thing that I had to help teach in, and it kind of gets you to see how happy the kids are to learn about it, and it kind of makes me a little bit happier to see them be happy.
I didn't really go to church that often as a teen because we were always forced to go when we were kids because our grandma's really religious. So as soon as I turned into a teenager, I was like, I'm not going to go every Sunday.
I had a one-on-one with the youth minister, just completely changed the way I looked at things, and he helped me a lot to change my mind about certain things in life.
I think the youth group taught me that you should be good to people, not only make yourself happy.
We had a youth group band, and I played the drums for them. We would practice and play little shows for everyone.
It taught me how to do right from wrong.
I haven't been in a youth group, but if I could have been in a youth group, I would have.
What would you say to a teenager who is considering joining a youth group?
Do it. Get in touch with your faith. It's awesome.
Join it because it's fun and you learn a lot.
I hear that they're fun, good times.
It's a good idea. It's a really good idea to help you.
Go for it. I mean, it's fun and it's good.
I would totally tell them to do it. That sounds like an amazing idea.
Why?
Because everyone needs to understand the power and the love of God.
The teen years were like a rough time for me. And I guess if I did go to church more often and if I was involved in like a youth group sort of thing, maybe that would have helped me get through it a little easier, but I wasn't. So I would just tell them to go out and do it. They have nothing to lose.
I would just encourage them to join it, like from my past experiences.
Find one that you're really interested in and just let it go from there.
Yeah, I think youth group is definitely a great way to get involved in your church. I know it might be a little scary at first, but I think you have to give it a chance. You can't just go to one meeting and then not go again. Once I started going more, I started making friends. It's a really awesome environment to pray together and to get to know God.
Yeah, my parish has both a middle school youth group and a high school youth group. So the bonds we formed in the middle school stuck throughout the high school youth group. And, we're still in touch and we have great, friendships.
I love my youth group because, it's normally 2 hours long, and then for a half hour, not even, we would just have a whole praying session, and we would all light a candle and just go around in a circle, just saying things that were on our mind and stuff, and it was just a way to open up, and it was really good.
There are many other benefits to participating in a parish youth group.
Aside from finding friends and finding things to distract yourself with, don't just do it for your parents. Make the experience your own.
Our youth group can be more than a place for us to develop our own individual prayer life.
Prayers need practice, and youth ministry can help us find new and creative ways to make our friendship with Jesus work for us.
Next, Samantha shares with us some benefits to becoming active in our parish youth group.
I was able to just be myself and to meet all those new people and to hang out. And some of my friends now were my friends from youth ministry. I was able to have that foundation for faith, and I was able to bring it with me to college. I was able to get through college and to not miss my family so much, even though it was really hard, but I knew like God was with me. I feel that if I have the support system and I have the like-minded friends, then I'll be able to keep my faith easier. Because I know even though I had the foundation, it's still hard for me to make sure that I go to Mass every Sunday, even though I have 20 papers due the next day. It's not what you think. It's fun, it's interactive, you laugh, it's a good time. You should try it out. But I also think that another thing for me was that I was able to take that knowledge into other things that I did, like in CCD. We were talking about the Eucharist, and we had talked about the Eucharist in youth group the week before. I had this kid in my class, and he's like, I don't know, what is it? What is the Eucharist actually? And I explained to him that it was actually Jesus. And I could just remember his face. He was just like, you mean it's Jesus? It's really his body? Like, he really understood. And I think that was a really good thing. And I only was able to explain to him because I had the knowledge I had gotten from youth group. It reinforces everything you learn in a deeper way that it's easier for high school students to understand. I really hope to be a youth minister after I finish college, or at least like teach in a Catholic school, just because I know how much youth group has helped me, and I want to be able to help other people to have the same experience.
Youth group and other types of youth ministries are vital to our parish communities.
They are vital to our church.
It's important to remember what Pope John Paul II said about us.
You are not the future of the church.
You are the church.
Next, Samantha shares with us a youth group prayer experience which helped them through a time when they were shaken by the Virginia Tech University shooting.
She also tells us why parishes should invest in youth ministries.
One of the other experiences I had was during a time of tragedy after the shootings in Virginia Tech. We had a life night about it. A lot of people were upset because we were in high school and we were getting ready to go to college, and a lot of people were upset that that might happen at their schools. So we were able to just talk about it and to pray together and pray for the victims' families, but also to support each other. There was a kid in our youth group who really wanted to go to Virginia Tech, and he's like, I don't want to go anymore. That'd be really scary. But we were able to like encourage each other and tell each other, you know, it's going to be okay. Sometimes things happen, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen again. I thought it was really nice that we were able to just be there for each other. The Catholic Church really needs to focus on youth ministry and youth groups because we are going to take over the positions of the people today. If we aren't strong in our faith, then the Catholic Church won't be strong. They have to invest in us, like a lot of churches are already doing. If you give somebody that doesn't know anything a position in high power, they're not going to do their job well. So they have to teach us and invest in us. Young people offer their youthfulness, their liveliness, new ideas. We should be able to help and do things for the church. We might not be able to be the church accountant, but we can still be a lector, we can still be an altar server, and we can still help the church. I think every church should have a youth group just to make sure that we are getting the foundations for life, getting people that are going to continue our church and continue our teaching, because the same people can't run it forever. They're not going to be here for eternity.
I think the main reason why youth groups are important, you can just go there and you can just talk about anything and you can be safe there.
We can talk about our faith and not be judged about it.
Because you have more in common with those people.
Exactly.
I'll be like to my friends, they'll ask me to hang out, and I'll be like, no, sorry, I have youth group. And they're like, oh, fun. Like, they think I'm being sarcastic, but it's actually fun going to youth group because they're like my friends. They're like any other people. They just have the same views as I do.
I also like how Samantha said how youth group is made up of a bunch of like-minded people. So all those like-minded people can come together and try and make the difference and say that we are the future of the church.
Yeah, I do agree that youth group is made up of a bunch of like-minded people, but I also believe that youth group is open to people with different beliefs also. Like, it's sort of a safe haven for them to come in and ask questions about our faith, even if they don't have the same beliefs, but they know they won't be like made fun of for it. We'll be accepting of them.
I think the bottom line is that we really need to get more involved in our church, and not just us, but everyone in our generation, because one day we're going to be the leaders, and we got to be ready for that.
In 1993, on World Youth Day in Denver, Pope John Paul II said this to young people.
At this stage of history, the liberating message of the gospel of life has been put into your hands.
And the mission of proclaiming it to the ends of the earth is now passing to your generation.
The church needs your energy, your enthusiasm, your youthful ideas, in order to make the gospel of life penetrate the fabric of society.
Transforming people's hearts and the structures of society in order to create a civilization of true justice and love.
Now more than ever, in a world that is often without light,
and without the courage of noble ideals,
people need the fresh, vital spirituality of the gospel.
So it's in our hands to be evangelizers,
to be peacemakers,
to be a light to the world.
So how does your church empower you through its youth ministry?
We'd love to know.
Contact us at RealfaithTV.com.
Or share your thoughts with us on Twitter.
And we'll leave you today with these inspiring words from Pope Benedict XVI on World Youth Day 2009.
To you young people who are in search of a firm hope, I address the very words that St. Paul wrote to the persecuted Christians in Rome at that time.
May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing,
so that you may abound in hope by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time on
Real Faith TV. God bless.